Welcome back to the channel. When we think of the Philippines and its history, a few key events immediately come to mind: the Spanish colonization, the Philippine Revolution, and World War II. But today we're diving deeper into the past, uncovering some lesser-known facts that will completely change how you see the Philippines. You'll be amazed by how connected this island nation is to the rest of the world, and by the incredible stories hiding in the pages of its history. So, let's get started with 5 facts. Fact 1. The first Philippine flag was sewn in Hong Kong. The Philippine flag is one of the most important national symbols of the country. It's flown during national holidays, used in official ceremonies, and it stands as a powerful reminder of the fight for independence. But did you know the first ever Philippine flag wasn't actually made in the Philippines? In 1897, Emilio Aguinaldo, the revolutionary leader of the Philippines, was living in exile in Hong Kong after a failed uprising against the Spanish colonizers. Even in exile, Aguinaldo remained focused on the revolution, and he wanted to create a flag that would unite Filipinos in their struggle for freedom. Aguinaldo commissioned Marcela Agoncillo, a prominent Filipino in Hong Kong, to make this flag. Together with her daughter Lorenza and Delfina Herbosa de Natividad, the niece of the Filipino hero Jose Rizal, they spent days sewing the flag by hand. This was no ordinary task. Each element of the flag was chosen carefully. The blue represented peace and justice, the red symbolized courage and bravery, and the white triangle stood for liberty and equality. Inside the triangle, the golden sun and 3 stars represented Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, the 3 major island groups of the Philippines. Every year, this very flag was first raised on June 12, 1898, when Aguinaldo declared Philippine independence from Spain in Kawit, Cavite. Imagine that, a flag sewn in a foreign land representing the hopes and dreams of a country yearning for freedom. It just goes to show that the revolution wasn't fought only on Philippine soil. Filipino exiles like those in Hong Kong played a huge role in shaping the country's future. Fact 2. Tondo was once a powerful kingdom. Let's take a step back in time long before the Spanish set foot in the Philippines, to the pre-colonial era. Back then, the archipelago wasn't a single unified country. Instead, it was made up of different kingdoms, sultanates, and tribes, and one of the most powerful of these was the Kingdom of Tondo. The Kingdom of Tondo was centered along the Pasig River where Manila now stands, and it was a key player in regional trade as early as the 10th century. Tondo controlled the mouth of the river, making it a vital hub for goods flowing in and out of the archipelago. But Tondo wasn't just a local trading post, it was a kingdom that connected with China, Japan, and other neighboring empires. One of the reasons Tondo was so powerful was its relationship with China. Chinese records from the Song dynasty show that Tondo was a significant trading partner, exchanging everything from silk to spices. The kingdom's rulers, known as Laicons, had political and economic power that stretched far beyond their borders. They forged alliances through marriage, diplomacy, and trade, securing their kingdom's prosperity. But Tondo's story isn't as well known because when the Spanish colonized the Philippines in the 16th century, they conquered Tondo and incorporated it into their colony. Still, the kingdom's legacy lives on, reminding us that the Philippines had complex political systems and international relations long before European colonization. Fact 3. The first Catholic Mass was on Limasawa, not Cebu. Many Filipinos believe that the first Catholic Mass in the Philippines took place in Cebu, but this is a historical misconception. The actual site of the first Mass is on a small island called Limasawa in southern Leyte. In 1521, Ferdinand Magellan and his crew landed on Limasawa Island during their journey to circumnavigate the globe. They were welcomed by Raja Kalambu, the local ruler, and to celebrate their peaceful meeting, Magellan's crew held a Catholic Mass on March 31st under the open sky. Father Pedro de Valderrama officiated the Mass, and this event marked the beginning of Christianity in the Philippines. Although Cebu would later become the center of Spanish influence and Catholic conversion, it was Limasawa where the seeds of Christianity were first planted. Today, Limasawa is a peaceful island far from the bustling cities of the Philippines, but it holds a significant place in the country's religious history as the site of the first Catholic Mass, a fact often overlooked in favor of more prominent events in Cebu. Fact 4. The Philippines was part of the Mexican Empire. Here's a fact that might surprise you. For over 2 centuries, the Philippines wasn't governed directly by Spain. Instead, it was part of the Viceroyalty of New Spain, which had its capital in Mexico City. From 1565 to 1815, the Philippines was connected to Mexico through the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade. This trade route was one of the longest and most important in the world at the time. For 250 years, galleon ships carried Asian goods like silk, spices, and porcelain from Manila to Acapulco, and in return, silver and other products flowed back to the Philippines. But it wasn't just goods that crossed the ocean, people did too. Many Mexicans, including soldiers, priests, and craftsmen, came to settle in the Philippines. Their influence is still visible today in Filipino culture, food, and even some religious practices. For instance, the tradition of the Day of the Dead and certain foods like tamales have Mexican roots. The Manila-Acapulco galleon trade didn't just shape the economy, it forged a cultural connection between the Philippines and Mexico, one that's often overlooked but is deeply embedded in Filipino society. Fact 5. Filipino soldiers fought in the American Civil War. And here's one fact that even many history buffs don't know. They weren't large numbers, but Filipino sailors, known as Manila men, served in both the Union and Confederate navies. Many Filipinos had settled in Louisiana, particularly around New Orleans, where they worked as fishermen. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, some of these Filipinos joined the conflict. As experienced sailors, they were enlisted by both the Union and Confederate forces. One notable figure was Agustin Feliciano, a Filipino who served in the Union Navy and participated in several key naval battles. Feliciano wasn't the only one. Other Filipinos fought alongside American soldiers and sailors, though their contributions are often overlooked. Many historians believe that these Manila men played a key role in important naval engagements. Thanks to their experience as sailors and their knowledge of shipbuilding and navigation, honed back in the Philippines. Even though their stories have been largely forgotten, these Filipino fighters contributed to a defining moment in American history. Their participation in the Civil War is a reminder that Filipino history doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's interconnected with world events, and Filipinos have always been part of global historical moments. So there you have it, the 5 lesser-known facts about Philippine history that show just how rich, complex, and interconnected the Philippines is with the rest of the world. From the birth of the Philippine flag in Hong Kong to a once powerful kingdom in Manila, and Filipino sailors fighting in the American Civil War, these stories remind us that history is full of surprises. There's always more to uncover, and these lesser-known moments are just as important as the big events we often hear about. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning about these hidden gems of Philippine history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel.